What a book. This has got to be one of the greatest wrestling books I've ever read. Is Wrestling Fixed? I Didn't Know It Was Broken by Bill Apter and forward by Jerry the King Lawler. Bill Apter, wait a minute, that's me. We're on, hello everybody, for the Jarrett Parsons Network. This is Bill Apter and welcome down to Apter's Alley. And if you're not familiar with me, I am known as the world's most recognizable pro wrestling, unless you want to call it sports entertainment, journalist and photographer in the entire world. So thank you for coming to Apter's Alley right here, and lots to talk about, lots to show you in the next few months, and further, even beyond that. I am going to be bringing you some of the classic interviews, video interviews, that I have done with wrestlers throughout the years. And some of them huge stars, some of them mid-carders, some of them, well, some of the low-card guys that might be looking for, hey Bill, would you mind interviewing me? Everybody's treated well down here on Apter's Alley and the Apter Chat. Now, a lot of these interviews that you're going to see, the original versions were on the wrestling website that I work for, 1WRESTLING.com. That's the number one, not the word, 1WRESTLING.com. And also on 1WRESTLINGVIDEO.com. But a lot of this stuff here on my show, on the Jarrett Parsons Network, is exclusive. They haven't been seen before. So if you are still going like, Bill Apter, I know that guy's name from somewhere. Who? Wait a minute, wasn't he one of the editors of Inside Wrestling, The Wrestler, Sports Review Wrestling, Ben Strong Wrestling, and Wow Magazine, and Pro Wrestling Illustrated? Yeah, that's the guy, that's me. Same guy, been around a long time, and I love classic wrestling, and I love interviewing wrestlers, and I love interviewing fans. So what I'd like to do right now, before we go to the first interview, is mention to you that if you want to know more about me, of course, my book is Wrestling Fixed. I Didn't Know It Was Broken. Is on sale. You can get it at Amazon.com or any bookstore. Almost every bookstore has it, or you can order it. So now let's get down to why we are here, why we're watching this channel, because you're interested in seeing my interviews. And by the way, you'll not only see interviews, I have classic interviews back from the 70s that were done on audio tape, and I'm going to run them exclusively right here on the Bill Apter channel. Behind me over here, I'm looking in the camera so everything's backwards, is my Hall of Fame awards. And I want to thank all you fans, because without you fans out there, I never would have been in any of these Hall of Fames. Okay, so let's get started right now. Today, 3 interviews from the year 2011. Interview number 1 is with one of the most complex wrestlers in the entire world. He's very soft-spoken. He speaks like this. And he made his fortune and fame by carrying around a snake. Ah, you know who it is, don't you? Jake the Snake Roberts. Well, way back when I was doing Wrestle Reunion, Jake Roberts told me that that was going to be his final match ever. So the next morning, I went and I found Jake, and I asked him what it feels like now to be retired. So let's go to this very brief clip of Jake the Snake Roberts telling Bill Apter what it feels like to have had his last match and be retired. This is Bill Apter, and I'm speaking here with Jake the Snake Roberts. And Jake the Snake Roberts, you have officially retired, wrestled your final match against Sin at Wrestle Reunion. What does it feel like the day after?
Sucks.
Yeah.
It really does, man. I don't think it's really soaked in yet. I mean, it was very emotional last night. And I don't know what to say. I mean, you do something for 37 years and all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore. It's kind of an empty plate. But that doesn't change things. I'll still be doing things, movies and such. And of course, the end of April and First day of May, we'll be out in lovely Munster, Texas, 12 miles from my home, at the German Fest, man, crowning the first true independent wrestling champion.
Now, you are going to be there in the capacity as one of the legend judges, correct?
Judges, and I'll be doing some strip work.
So what?
Some stripping work.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah. I've had the hip replacement, so there's an extra scar back there, but hey, just
this is an extra added attraction.
Shove money wherever you have to. Okay?
But what does it mean to crown an independent world champion?
I think it's going to be awesome, man, because we're looking at about 400 matches. You know, it'll go on the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest wrestling event ever.
Yes.
And that means that beats Vince at something. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Sue me. Anyway, it's just going to be awesome, man. Some of the guys are going to be there: Stan Hansen, Harley Race, Cowboy Bob Orton. The list goes on and on and on, man.
Yeah, they're negotiating with a lot of legends, and also people from Japan have confirmed that they're coming in as well.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a place for these young guys to get a chance to show their wares, you know, and maybe that'll springboard them into a spot, you know. And I just like the fact that there's judges that are going to be there, guys that actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's really odd. I mean, it's not like it's a Laurinaitis thing, where you got somebody that doesn't get a... Anyway, I'll shut up because I like the guy.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you down there. And Jake Roberts, we are very proud on OneWrestling.com to have you here the day after your retirement. And what would you like to say to all the fans that supported you in the ring your whole career?
Without you, I could have never done it. Kept it going. That's a fact.
So Jake the Snake Roberts, wow. And you know, he's still very relevant in the wrestling business. He's at all the conventions. He does a lot of one-man shows. So if you ever get to see Jake the Snake Roberts, tell him that Bill Apter, a.k.a. Wonderful Willie, said hello. So one of the other people who has had an incredible career but cut short due to many physical problems, and he's still around, and he's an excellent goodwill ambassador for pro wrestling, is a guy named Lex Luger. Yeah, the total package. I first met Lex Luger when he was wrestling in Florida, and he really impressed me. I thought he was going to be like the next Hulk Hogan. I really did. Yeah. He had a very, very, very huge, powerful body, and unfortunately, and he and I talk about this when we see each other, he also had a very powerful ego, and that and some physical issues both hurt the rise of his career to get to the pinnacle of his career, so to say. I interviewed Lex Luger, who is a born-again Christian. He's a very religious man, at a convention back in 2011. He and I have become very dear, close friends, and this interview with him is quite revealing. So let's take a look right now. Let's go back to 2011 and my interview with Lex Luger. The total package, if you will. OneWrestling.com. This is Bill Apter, and back here with Lex Luger. Welcome back.
25 years later,
yes.
You and I.
Yes, 25 years later, and
there's
you,
history.
Yeah,
you put me on the map, you know.
Well,
when I started wrestling, Bill put me on all his magazine covers, and then the rest is history.
You know what? I hate to correct you.
Like, who's that guy? No. It was like, who's that guy in Florida? It was your pictures.
Well, I hate to correct him, but I always say when I was back in the days of PWI, I was part of an incredible
team. I was a blip on the team, but I was out. I was there. I was out in the trenches.
Your sense of humility. That's wonderful.
No, I was out there in the trenches, and thanks to people like you, I was able to stay in this business for 41 years.
In all honesty, you played a big role in my career at the early stages.
Thank you so very much. Tell everybody right now on OneWrestling.com what you're doing these days.
Well, I do a lot of on the weekends. I love doing some of these shows here to be able to thank the fans for the incredible career I had and their support. And I love to get back out to meet them when maybe a time in my life I didn't appreciate so much. God's given me a real appreciation for wrestling and the fans. So I'd love to come out with things like this that are a lot of fun and thank them for their support. But also, on the weekends, I travel around with Nikita and some of the other wrestlers. We do a lot of thing in the schools and fun.
Nikita Koloff, we're talking about. Yeah.
Nikita Koloff. And we do fundraising events on Fridays and things in schools and fundraising events on the weekends and some motivation, also some inspirational speaking.
Now you were saying,
and I've always been involved in the fitness, health, and wellness and fitness field. That's what I do now.
What in what capacity?
Well, I have a fitness consulting firm, Total Package Fitness, and we do things with corporations. And I'm involved with some fitness clubs still.
So how do people get in touch with you if they want to utilize your services that way?
Wow, I didn't think about that. It's always been word of mouth.
Yes. But
contact you, Bill.
Contact me. I'm the hookup. Hey, you mentioned something that I wanted to go back to, and a lot of guys mention this, that during their career they were not as receptive as they are to the fans and these kind of events.
Oh,
and what changed your life?
Come to think of it, back to that last question. Nikita and I do so many things. Got people really, in all honesty, do you want to kind of just go to Nikita Koloff's website?
Okay. Which is?
Well, just pull up Nikita Koloff. It'll come up. I think it's
Google it.
Koloff.com.
Okay.
Yeah, Google it.
So going back, what
technologically up to date I am.
What changed your whole well, the way you acted toward people? You mentioned there was a time you wouldn't have gotten involved in stuff like this, and you weren't as fan friendly.
Yeah, know I wasn't.
But what changed that? What was
God? I can't take any credit. God changed that for me.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
And so since which was how long ago?
April 23rd of 06, Jesus Christ became my Lord and Savior.
So when you speak at some of these functions, if you were looking out at the camera right now, what do you say to people?
Well, I say that there can be a self-centered lifestyle or a Christ-centered lifestyle. Since April 23rd of 06, God's made by His grace and mercy only, a supernatural transformation in my life. He surrounded me with incredible godly people. I'm very thankful for that, and He continues to build my life the way it is for His purpose, not my purpose, and who better than our Creator? So I recommend that lifestyle to anybody.
Do you still follow the business at all? Do you watch wrestling on TV?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
God's giving me a better appreciation of all this now.
Well,
really,
this is great. So who are the people that you see on TV these days that are awesome to you? Like The Miz, did you find him awesome?
Yeah, I think he's got, he's red hot. He's on the tip of everybody's tongues. Of course, John Cena's great. Right. There's still some of the guys I wrestled with, Undertaker, Triple H, and all those guys out there too. So a good mixture.
Okay.
I always tell them, the new fans and the old fans that watch us, to give the new guys a chance. Yeah. You know what I mean? To blend in and become the type of guys we are in their minds.
People, when they talk about the lack of certain wrestlers in the WWE Hall of Fame, your name always seems to be within the top 5. So
yeah, you never know.
Yes.
It'd be a great honor.
So that's something you would love to attain.
Oh, what an honor! Why not? Yeah. No doubt.
How did you feel when you saw Animal and Paul Ellering inducted this year, and Paul Ellering pull out that little action figure of Hawk out of his pocket?
That was very touching, and I very well deserved those guys being in the Hall of Fame. When that Iron Man music hit, that was one of the most, Bill, I know you know that too. The arenas, it was incredible. They were one of the greatest tag teams ever.
Other than you, is there someone in the Hall of Fame, actually who's not in the Hall of Fame? Other than you, is there someone else who's not in the Hall of Fame that you would love to see put in there?
Oh, I'd love to see Stinger put in there, and I don't know if she is or not, Miss Elizabeth.
Right. Yes. No, she's not as yet.
So those two off the tip of my tongue right now are coming into my mind.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lex Luger. You look tremendous, by the way.
Bill, I feel great. Thank you.
And Bill Apter with Lex Luger here at KNS WrestleFest for OneWrestling.com. We'll see you at the matches.
Yeah, and there is some stuff about Lex Luger in my book. By the way, for you, there are a lot of people out there who bought the book, got the Kindle version, and they said to me, is there an audio version of this? Because we'd like to hear you, even though they could hear my voice, so to say, when they were reading my book. They said, we'd like to hear your, I'm looking for a picture I have of Lex Luger and I in here. They said, we'd like to hear your story firsthand. I can't find the picture right now. I'll find it another time. But we want to hear it firsthand. So, did you know that Audible, the very famous company that does all the audiobooks in the world, had me do, hang on, let me just get one of these, because I didn't realize I was going to talk about this, but they had me do the audiobook. Yeah, Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken, and you can get this on Amazon.com. There's a recording studio in Orland, Pennsylvania, that I recorded the 9 hours of this audiobook. It's called Forge Recording. And see, there's the actual, it's called Forge Recording Studios. And making that audio CD, which is great when you're going to long wrestling trips or vacations, everybody tells me that. But the making of that CD is something that I will never forget. And I want you to take a look right now at part 1 of the making of the audio version of Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken. It's May 1st, 2016. This is Bill Apter down here at Apter's Alley, and I'm headed out to Forge Recording Studios in Orland, Pennsylvania to record the audible version, the audio book of Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken. Obviously, this is a great day to be indoors at a recording studio. All right, on this rainy day, we've arrived at Forge Studios. Hello, anybody home?
Hello.
Hey, Brendan, good to see you.
Good to see you, Bill.
I'm ready to record. Can I ask you a question before we start?
Mm-hmm.
Is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.
We're ready. We're going into the academy at Forge Recording Studios, and here we are. This is where it all happens, doesn't it, Brendan?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you doing now?
Right now, I'm setting up our audio session, getting the tracks ready to record.
All right. And were you a wrestling fan growing up, Brendan?
Yes, indeed,
Yeah.
I was. I watched it all the time.
Who was your favorite?
I liked Hulk, and I liked Andre the Giant the best.
Wow, yeah. Two icons of the business. And you'll be hearing a lot when I'm reading the book. You'll be hearing a lot of stuff about both Andre and the Hulkster, and lots more.
Excellent.
All right. Let's get audible. Are we on? Is wrestling fixed? I didn't know it was broken. Let's go into the studio here. And this is what they call a microphone, of course. And in front of us here is what I'm going to be reading from. So yeah, this is great. I've never seen the print on my book this big. Is this like just for seniors, Brendan, or this is for everybody?
That's what everybody
It's
gets.
for everybody. Okay, so we're going to go to work soon, and we will pick this up in a little bit. I'm proud to say I have no enemies in the sports entertainment pro wrestling business. You know, it's amazing that I can say after a 45-year career in one of the most wonderful, colorful, intense, mad, and unusual worlds around, I mean, who else do you know has spent this much time reporting, photographing, and befriending half-naked men in bathing suits who make like they're beating each other up?
Hey, Bill, let's just listen to some playback and see how it's going so far.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. This is the official playback monitor here. The next day, I was a guest at the NXT taping. It was there that I got to talk to You okay with that? He told me Sounds he good? heard
Yeah,
it
sounds really good.
well, All right. as did his. So this is chapter 3, published. One day in 1959 changed my entire life. I was 14 years old and a rabid wrestling fan. It was a Tuesday night in late summer when my dad and I went to a show at Sunnyside Gardens in Queens, New York. So during the midst of the taping here, my lovely daughter Haley from Astoria is calling me she wanted to hear a little bit of the playback. So Haley, hold on, I'm putting you on speaker. We're on video right now. What did you think of the playback so far?
Oh, so far I thought it sounded just like you.
It sounded just like me. Thank you.
Bill, we're done with chapter 8.
Okay, how's it sounding so far?
Sounds great.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to chapter 9 about my secret contacts. This is a biggie because people are always asking me, who did you talk to? You know, who gave you the inside scoop? So that's what this chapter is. All right.
Great.
See you in a little while.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? So I hope you enjoyed that little look into Forge Recording Studios. Right now for our finale interview, one of the people who I still call a very dear friend, although he's not in pro wrestling anymore, he does conventions once in a while. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, and he's only one of 2 guys that ever mentioned my name while he was accepting, 3 guys, when he was accepting his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. One guy was Jerry the King Lawler for hooking him up with Andy Kaufman. It's in my book. The other guy was, if you can see that mask, Mil Mascaras, the amazing Mexican luchador, and this other guy who we're going to watch an interview right now where he tells an unusual Hulk Hogan story. We're talking about Goldberg. Wait a minute, don't go away. Goldberg, keep chanting Goldberg. Goldberg, there he is. Goldberg, I want to make sure it's not Stone Cold. Yeah, it is Goldberg. So right now, let's take a look at my interview with Goldberg.
Hello everyone, for OneWrestling.com. This is Bill Apter, and we are back with Bill Goldberg. If you remember, about a year ago, we ran a whole series. Yeah, we ran a whole series of Ask Bill Goldberg, and very well received.
Yeah, they got a lot of play online. I saw that. You
Yes,
know, everybody
they did.
wants to know why I left the WWE. All they got to do is look at the video you shot of me.
Absolutely. And you want to tell people again why you left the WWE to refresh their memories?
It takes way too long. But,
Yeah.
you know, I'd say that after I left the ring one night and I was the champion and I grabbed a kid out of the audience, put him on my shoulder, saw the excitement in his eyes. He grabbed the belt. Then I went backstage and I saw on Rosie's shirt it said SHIT, Superhero in Training. And I said, that's it. That's
We're a
enough for me.
PG site, so I'm glad.
I said that's enough for me, you know, because the reality is what got me into wrestling was sitting at home with my grandmother every Saturday night at 10:30 watches the Texas Championship
I
Wrestling.
was going to say, who did you watch?
The Von Erichs and
Yeah.
Brody. Well, you know, obviously, you know, Brody was
Yes,
my
of
favorite.
course, of course.
Tony,
probably coulda-
Tony Atlas, you
you
know,
probably-
Putski, those guys.
You probably could have done a hell of a claw hold, speaking about the Von Erichs.
Yeah, it would have kept me in one place for too long. You know me, I would have gassed out or something. But
Now, your son is how old now?
my son's 5, and he's
And-
already taken Muay Thai for the past 6 months. So.
Now, does he watch, do you sit down and watch wrestling with him at all?
No.
Okay.
I won't let him watch it really. You know, he's 5 years old, and I think he's kind of stuck on SpongeBob and stuff like that
Yes,
right
of
now. The superheroes and all kind of stuff, and I don't think wrestling. I mean, you know, I'm not going to turn him away from it by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if it's something that I deem cool for him to watch, then he can do whatever he wants.
Okay. What do you miss anything about the business?
Yeah, I miss the fans.
Yeah.
You know, I miss the fans, truly. I mean, The
Let's
reality.
hear it. For Bill Goldberg.
The reality is that the best thing that I got from the wrestling business was to be able to connect with so many people. Obviously, hey, the money's great, no doubt about it. The exposure's wonderful, but at the end of the day, if you're a person that really wants to make a difference, being with the people is what it's all about.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm on this planet to try to make a positive difference, and to be able to interact with people like this, it's wonderful for me.
And you always have had a positive influence on everyone, including, as you know, my son, who still
Brandon.
Yeah, still Brandberg, still idolizes you. Let's catch up real quickly on what you're doing today, where people can see you on TV and other outlets.
Jesus, just about every cable channel, you know. Sundays on DIY, Garage Mahal, one of my passions, automobiles and renovating people's garages, which is a really cool deal.
I'm going to give him my address. We need that done at home.
Yeah, no question. And then I just signed on again as an MMA commentator with a place called Shark Fights,
Right.
a company out of Texas. That's on Fuel TV. And then on Speed, I host a show called the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Invitational.
Right.
And actually, right now, the coolest thing that's going on for me is I'm building a 200-mile-an-hour 1970 Pontiac Trans Am for my wife to race.
Wow. Your wife races?
My wife, yeah, ex-stunt woman.
Wow.
And it's a very long story, but I had a car that I bought for her years ago, got it restored. We never even started the car. It was a car that was, it's a Pebble Beach kind of Concours d'Elegance car. You know, you don't drive the thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, for a woman that is an ex-stunt woman, what better gift than to give her a race car?
Yeah, really, really. So you married someone as daring as you.
I married someone more daring than myself.
That's incredible. I didn't know that existed.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I met her on a movie I did up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Santa's Sleigh, years ago, and she's awesome. She's just, you know, I met her, and like 3 months later we got married. So
Wanda,
yeah,
right.
she's the best.
so the last question, I'm going to ask one of the fans here, who was your favorite Goldberg opponent? We're here at opponent, not you, one of the fans. All right, so we're going to go back in time right now. We're going to make like it's the day of the match. Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan. This is Bill Apter in the dressing room before the match in 30 minutes. It's you, Goldberg, against Hulk Hogan. Look out at the camera and tell us what you're going to do.
You know what? I'm going to look at the camera and tell you exactly what Hogan told me. I walked up to Hogan, and, you know, this is a guy 6 months into the business, myself, obviously. And I was at the point where I would do anything anybody told me to do because all I was a sponge. I wanted to learn. And, and I, you know, felt guilty about being in the position I was in because I hadn't been there for years and, you know, to whatever. So I go up to Hogan and I said, well, what are we doing for the match? And he says, don't worry, brother. We'll call it in the ring. For a guy like myself, in front of 42,000 people in the Georgia Dome, which is my backyard,
To call it in the ring?
to call it in the ring, I'd have problems doing that at the end of my career, let alone at the beginning of my career.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was flabbergasted, to say the least. I mean, it was a really weird spot. I mean, first of all, I had to go out there and deal with the mess we call Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
You know, I had to deal with a match with him, and then after that, I had to deal with Hogan, and we literally did it in the ring. So,
Wow. So I guess what I'm looking to do is we're going back in time.
I know you are, but you want me to be that guy.
You
man.
want to be
I
that
was
guy for that?
I was so nervous. I don't know what I was doing.
Wow.
I mean, literally.
Wow.
It all started with. I'm not going to give you that wrestling promo. You know that.
Yeah.
It all started with me sitting watching Thunder on Thursday night and seeing J.J. Dillon say to the people that there's going to be a match on Monday for the World Heavyweight Championship with Goldberg and Hogan, and that's the first I had heard of it.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So yeah, you know, that's a backstory. It's not what you wanted, but that's what
No. That's actually better than what I wanted. Who's next?
That food right over there is next, and
Okay.
actually you're going to be
Check-
next if I don't get to eat it.
Bill Apter with Bill Goldberg. And let me have that camera for a second. We want to show you who's been shooting this here at Wizard World. What's your name?
Mixmaster B.
Thank you, Mixmaster B. And we will see you at the matches. See, I can do that.
Well, that's about it for this show. We will be uploading more and more of my interviews. We'll have news items. We'll do so much, and I'll take you around other places in APTER'S Alley not right now. We don't have time. I'm ending the show here. But we will do this from other areas in APTER'S Alley. And don't forget to get my book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I Didn't Know It Was Broken. And by the way, we'll have some big news about this book coming up on the next edition of the Apter Chat right here on the Jared Parsons Network. Until we see each other again, this is Bill Apter, and as I always say, you can say it with me, I'll see you at the matches.